You wake up on your birthday and it feels quiet, not peaceful, not joyful, just quiet. The phone is still on the nightstand. You haven't checked it yet. You tell yourself it's just another day. You make coffee the same way. You move through the morning with the same neutral efficiency. No anticipation, no disappointment, just a controlled emotional flatline. And if someone does remember, if they smile too brightly, if they ask what you want to do, you feel something tighten inside your chest, a subtle urge to downplay it. Oh, it's nothing. We don't have to do anything. It's just a birthday. You say it casually, almost convincingly, but underneath that casual tone is a lifetime of training, a nervous system that learned early. Do not expect, do not hope, do not ask to be celebrated, because expectation once hurt you, because attention once came with conditions, because being seen once meant being disappointed. So you learned to shrink the day, to make it emotionally survivable by making it emotionally small. Here is the paradox. The emotional self-sufficiency that once protected you is now quietly depriving you. What saved you from disappointment now robs you of joy. What kept you independent now keeps you unseen. What taught you not to need anyone now prevents you from receiving what you deserve. This is not about birthdays. Birthdays are just the mirror. This is about what happens when a person learns, far too early, that their existence should not require acknowledgement. Psychologically, this pattern often forms in environments where emotional recognition was inconsistent, conditional, or absent, not necessarily abusive, often subtle, often invisible. The child who becomes this adult didn't scream for attention. They adapted. One key concept here is emotional neglect, not the presence of harm, but the absence of When a child's inner world isn't reflected back to them, they learn that feelings are private burdens, not shared experiences. Over time, this creates avoidant attachment. Avoidant attachment is not about disliking closeness, it's about equating closeness with vulnerability that may not be safe. The avoidant nervous system learns to self-soothe by disengaging, minimizing needs, and staying internally contained. Think of the psyche like a house. For most people, birthdays are open doors, music, light, guests entering freely. For the avoidant child, the house learned to survive storms by sealing itself shut. Heavy doors, thick walls, no drafts, no surprises. Another layer is parentification, when a child learns to manage themselves emotionally because no one else reliably does. These children grow up early. They don't want to fuss. They don't want to inconvenience anyone. Celebration feels indulgent, almost irresponsible neurologically. This rewires the brain's default mode network, the system responsible for self-referential thought. Instead of asking, "What do I feel? What do I want?" it asks, "What is appropriate? What is safe? What is expected of me?" So when the birthday arrives, a day culturally designed for receiving, the nervous system flags it as a threat. Attention equals exposure. Exposure equals risk. And the body responds the only way it knows how, by flattening the moment. The cost of this strategy is not loud suffering. It is quiet grief. That it is the grief of never letting yourself feel chosen. The grief of never finding out how it feels to be celebrated without earning it. The grief of surviving so well that no one ever realizes you are lonely. Carl Jung once wrote, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parent." But there is another burden, the unlived life of the self. When you treat your birthday like a normal day, you are not being humble. You are reenacting a philosophy you were handed before you could question it. Do not take up space unless you are useful. Do not expect warmth unless you have earned it. Do not center yourself. This creates an invisible fracture between authenticity and belonging. You learn that to belong, you must be to be loved, you must not ask too much. To be safe, you must not hope too loudly. So joy becomes suspicious. Rest feels undeserved. Celebration feels awkward, almost embarrassing, and the core fear beneath it all is simple and devastating. If I let myself want, and no one meets me there, it will confirm what I've always suspected, that I am too much, or not enough. So you don't risk it. You keep the day quiet. You keep yourself manageable. This pattern doesn't stay on birthdays. It spreads. You might notice it in how you live. You downplay achievements. Compliments make you uncomfortable. You redirect praise quickly. You struggle to receive care. When someone shows up for you, you feel indebted instead of nourished. You overfunction in relationships. You give more than you ask, and then wonder why you feel unseen. You avoid being the center of attention, not out of introversion, but out of nervous system alarm. You feel emotionally flat on milestones, graduations, promotions, anniversaries. Everything feels muted. You confuse independence with isolation. You pride yourself on not needing help, even when you're exhausted. These are not personality traits. They are coping strategies. The crucial shift is this. Stop asking what's wrong with me, and start asking what did this once protect me from. Healing begins with witnessing, not fixing. You notice the pattern without shaming it. You name the part of you that learned to disappear, and you let it know it doesn't have to work so hard anymore. This is the beginning of unlearning emotional invisibility. Healing does not mean suddenly throwing parties or demanding attention. That would be another performance. Healing means choosing softness where rigidity once lived. It might look like letting one person celebrate you, It might look like admitting, quietly, this day matters to me. It might look like reparenting the inner child who learned that joy was conditional. Inner child. Reparenting is not about reliving the past, it's about offering the nervous system a new experience. One where wanting does not lead to abandonment. One where being seen does not lead to shame. Shadow work invites you to reclaim the parts of you that learned to hide your desire, your hope, your need to be witnessed, and slowly, the birthday becomes less threatening, not because the world changed, but because you did, the psychologist Donald Winnicott said. The true self emerges when the individual feels safe enough to be spontaneous. You are not broken for treating your birthday like a normal day. You are patterned, you are adaptive, you are human, but you are also allowed to be celebrated not because you earned it, but because you exist. The goal was never to be fixed. The goal is to become whole. And wholeness means letting yourself be seen, especially on the days that remind you that you are here at all. If this resonated, share it with someone who learned too early how to disappear. And remember, your presence is not a burden, it is the point.